Yes. Flood. What I'm wearing today is Operation Finish the Flood. Annual flooding is real and I'm well prepared for it with this specially designed jackets from my innovation with our team working using natural organic waste. We've designed this since 2012 when there was massive flooding. What am I trying to say? There is solution to flooding. As a matter of fact, every human challenge in the world, there is solution. It is either natural solution, divine solution, or human solution. There is solution to flooding that the world need to know. Yes, there are solutions. There are ways to handle flooding, and that's why we are trying to extract what we are trying to extract in this discussion, so that people will know. Today is 13th of October 2022. The UN celebrated every year, 13th of October, the International Day of Disaster Risk Management. How to reduce the risk of natural disasters like flooding, for instance, earthquake, epidemics like COVID-19. There are ways to mitigate, to reduce the risk. But many people are not aware. This year, the theme was specially for the celebration was sustainability, increase, sustainably increase the availability and access to multi-hazard early warning system and disaster risk information and assessment for people by 2030. They are trying to prepare the world that by 2030 people should be informed, should be prepared. So that's what I'm saying. I have prepared for the flood since 2012 when there was massive flood. And through innovation, we come out with this jacket, for instance. This for children, for adults, for younger people, and for adults, and for adults. With this, I can virtually enter any place and it will keep me floating. If the water, for instance, like this year, it has taken a lot of people by surprise. The water came so sudden and it's surging as we are talking right now. And a lot of people have been trapped. But somebody like me, I cannot be trapped. The worst I can do is just put up, when the flood is there, just to put up my jacket, step into it, and then you see me floating. And I will be going to the direction of safety. And this is exactly what we are talking about. But what are the causes of flooding? This flooding we are talking about. Every year, it comes and the effect is so massive. Destruction. What are the causes and the consequences? What factor can we mitigate? Can we reduce it? Or factually even eliminate it? Prevent flooding. What are the practical ways out? So these are just briefly what we are considering right now. How I wish you, anywhere you are living in the world, just see the pictures coming out from the Niger Delta, from Kogi State, from part of Adamawa State. Houses are submerged. Businesses, offices, homes destroyed. In fact, in some cases, you will pity business people, people that have a fish pond, poultry. It's terrible. But what are the causes of this flooding that is happening every year? Before we look at the how to avoid it or minimize the effect. Number one causes of flooding is heavy rains. When the rains are heavy, definitely there will be bound to be water release into the soil, into the environment, which can cause flooding. Flooding can also be caused by overflowing of rivers and dams. Presently, in today's 2020 22 second, 20-second flooding. We are told that the flooding in Niger Delta in Nigeria is caused by the release of water from the Cameroon Dam. You see, so that can also cause flooding. Flooding can also be caused by broken dams. In some cases, when the dams are supposed to tame the water, control the water level, and be released gradually, if the system are broken, water can be released massively. It can cause flooding. Also, poor urban drainage system can cause flooding when the drainage system in a city is not properly arranged. And in some cases, the drainage system are blocked with plastic waste, other waste material that are not properly collected and disposed, can block the drainages. Unkept drainages or improper constructed drainages can cause flooding in a city. Please note that. Not only that, storms, surges, and tsunami. At times you see the sea coming up with a lot of what we call tsunami. Excessive flow from the sea in a sudden way is called a surge. Storm that causes surge can also cause flooding in a particular period of time. Lack of protective vegetation. That is why it is encouraged that today people should plant trees to mitigate the flow, the cases, incidents of flooding. When there are trees, good vegetation, it can prevent the flood, the water from entering and destroying things. Not only that, at times melting snows and ice, when large quantity of ice and snow are melted, they could also lead to flooding. Deforestation, as I said before, is another factor that causes flooding. Above all, the mother of it all that causes flooding is climate change. Climate change, which is a product of human activities that have eaten the ozone layer and exposed the earth to unnecessary weather condition changes. Climate change is a big problem right now in the world. There are major problems confronting the world right now. One of them is climate change. Secondly, crisis and conflict. COVID-19, then flooding and drought. These are major 5 challenges the world is facing, which are causing poverty, hunger, illegal migration, and they are causing vices, social injustice, and not bringing space for sustainable development. The world is not sustainable right now because of these 5 challenges. But we are saying that there could be a solution to flooding. As we know before, we have some type of flooding, like the dam flood caused by excess relief of water from dams. We have flashes of flash flood. That one is caused by excess rain that comes within a short period of time. It can cause flooding. We have coastal floods. Coastal flood like the Niger Delta, because they are prone to the coastal area where we are right now. The sea is bound to overflow once in a while, and definitely it's another type of flooding. Then we have river flow. Some nearby rivers can overflow their bank and cause flooding, and that is part of what we are facing today in our world. So flooding is real. How then can we mitigate flooding? Well, you must understand that there is something that human being must do. God will not come down to do it. What we are expected to do before, during, and after the flooding. These are things that we need to consider, which means there are long-term actions and short-term action. Immediate action that we need to take. After every seasonal flooding, you see people relax. They feel all is well. They go ahead to do their normal things. Illegal construction, blocking drainages, not properly taking care of waste in the proper disposing of plastic and all that. they are predisposing the environment to flooding. So there are actions that we must take before flooding, during flooding, and after flooding. And these are what we call mitigating action. And these actions are naturally divided into two. We have the structured action that must be taken against flooding, and we have the non-structural actions that must be taken. Human being must take against flooding. And one of such structured mitigating actions that we need to take as human beings is landscape reconstruction. We must look at the topography, the landscape, and begin to think innovatively how we can channel excess water, how we can go do massive drainages, even little one across street, across cities. These are part of the structured actions that must be taken against flooding. We need to look at flood walls and sea walls. See, where you have the sea always maybe surging, in some cases there is a wall that are constructed to block the surging water from flowing into the city, into areas. So such things must be taken seriously. We have floodgates that the flood can normally follow. The channels must be properly taken care of. Those are the structural one. And we have evacuation routes. We must prepare for people to be evacuated. And what are the routes that are naturally or artificially created to evacuate people in terms of flooding? This must be taken care of. Those are the structured actions. Now, what about the non-structural action? We must think of protection of the earth and human beings. How do we protect people from flooding? We must redesign habitations. We must ask, advise, use technical information to advise people to get out or stop building on flood prone areas. Okay? Then we must also look at evacuation and care. How do we, people that are evacuated? Right now, we have a lot of um, internally displaced camp, people's camp in the Niger Delta. In some schools here, around me here, just behind my residence here, there's a school where the internally displaced people, like a grammar school, for instance, here, ICS, Isoko Central School in Ole, and Emor, another grammar school in Ole there, in Isoko South, and other places. How do we properly care for these people? As we are talking right now, there are people trapped and land in the Deze community in Isoko South local government. People are trapped. There's no way they can come out. If they were to be given a jacket like this, all of them can easily come out. But behold, we are here to mass produce this, and it's our desire to mass produce this so that every household should have at least two or three. So we need partners who can help us, who can partner with us, so that we can mass produce this and prepare the people towards evacuation during flooding. These are the non-structural way. Property protection. How do we protect properties? Buildings from risk of flooding. These are part of the non-structural area. Then permanent relocation and resettlement. Now, the flooding has come. We need to, at this time, we need to check out where are the places that were flooded. So we now direct people, advise people to to properly relocated, to be properly relocated and settle in other areas. So these issues or these factors of mitigation need to be taken very, very seriously. The question now is, how do we permanently go about this? Yeah, measures to prevent flooding in a way. How do we prevent it? I want to give us some few steps that are needed by the government, by groups, and by individuals to prevent future occurrence of flooding. It's part of the mitigation, and that is what the UN is talking about today, 13th of October, the International Day of Disaster Risk Management Reduction. That is it. So how do we do that? One, early and better flood warning systems and compliance. We must have a scientific way of informing people of the incidents of flooding, when, the level, how it will be. So people need to be informed. So our scientific system, our geographic system, okay, must be properly activated to inform people in communities, government, of the nature of the yearly flooding and how it's going to be, when, and all that. And once this information is passed across, people must pay attention, must listen and comply. Like now, a lot of people ignore the warning that was given. I remember Nigeria Geological Service gave some information early part of September, August, September, that there's going to be massive flooding. But a lot of people ignore the information. And today they are counting the losses. If they have complied, what they could have done is to prepare the route of escape, prepare place for relocation. Those who have business, they could have actually relocated their business, resettle it in a way. Then after the flood, they come back or permanently relocated, but they ignore it. Number two, there must be modification in home and businesses to help them withstand flooding. Yes, I have a business concept right now. A place I am preparing to develop the health advanced smart digital and technological agricultural village. My plan is to develop floating farms. Yes, farm that can float. What do I mean? There are systems, there are ways you can put up your farm, even your building, and have discovered resources to do that. Innovation. Once the flood is coming, the farm will begin to float. Your house will begin to go just as the flood is coming. All I need to do is to get enough raw materials, enough food items. As far as the flood is coming, the house or your office is floating. You are there. You have no business of being afraid. So those are techniques, and we are already working on how that system could be perfected. So offices and homes should be properly redesigned so that for flooding they can withstand when the flooding comes. Construction of building above flood level. Yes, those must have permanent building in flooded area must construct them above flooding level. Very, very needed. That is one of the ways to prepare against flooding. Then we must tackle the problem of climate change. As I said before, the mother or the cause of all these things, all these challenges facing humanity, flooding, poverty, hunger, illegal migration, is climate change. And climate change is a factor, is caused by human activities. So how do we overcome climate change? Well, it's another major point that I want to discuss in the next video or presentation. So you need to subscribe to this channel so that you can get information when I talk about climate change, the action against climate change. There are actions that we must take, everyone must take, that can prevent climate change, reduce climate change. If you want to be benefit from it, subscribe to this channel and you'll be given alert immediately that presentation is released. We must also increase spending on flood defense. Yes, our government need to spend much on flood budget, deliberate budgeting for flooding activities, so that the issue of flooding, what needs to be done should not be neglected. So when there's enough flooding, the Ministry of Environment take care of the relevant things they're supposed to do, and flooding, climate change, and all these things could be reduced. Above all, there must be proper care for wetland regions, area like the Niger Delta, for instance. The federal government, the international bodies must deliberately provide interventional funds, interventional means, and ways of mitigating because this area are prone to flooding, and since the people cannot help themselves, so they need the help of the government, the capacity of the government through infrastructure to be able to withstand. So this area needs to be given proper care. Above all, to solve the problem of flooding, we need people's support network for partnership and intervention. People's support network. The flooding is real. It has come. Can't leave the people flooded as victims to care for themselves. They are helpless. They are displaced. So what do you need to do? Every individual must ask, what can I do? Those who are not affected by the flood by virtue of their area of stay, either locally, nationally, regionally, globally, you must look at the people there. Think, take yourself in their position and ask yourself, what can I do to relieve them? Is it medical items? You can provide. Is it food? You can provide. Is it clothing, bed material, sanitary material, alternative housing? You can provide. Network. Is it money? You can provide. Network with people. Let there be brotherliness. We are one. So you must think about the people and ask, what can we do? For instance, our health of our skill network, we have been going around the flooded area, communities, interacting with the people, providing some level of relief in our own capacity. We need you to join us. We, for instance, invite you all, anywhere you are, to partner with us. This thing can save life. This jacket I'm wearing right now. We want to produce it, mass produce it, to supply houses, homes, people in all the flood-prone areas. They should have it at least 1, 2, 3 in their homes, and it's very, very cost effective. I said it is produced from naturally available waste that is packaged in biodegradable material, which can save lives. It's environmentally friendly. So this material, for instance, we need your network, we need your partnership. We need us to work together to see how we can save life with these things, with this material. And definitely, you will be glad. We all can be happy. The world can be happy. We have the small size for children. We have the for youths, for adults, for mature people. So, in all these things, ask yourself, what can we do? Don't say flooding has no solution. There's nothing can be done. No, there's something that can be done. Every human problem, I've said it and I want to repeat, every human challenge is a raw material for creativity and innovation. Every challenge, whether you call it poverty, flooding, drought, anything, is a raw material. All we need to do is to think well, take action, partner, unite together, take a positive, proactive action, and we can overcome it. Here am I, sharing with you. Dr. Amos Obi is my name. I am the principal innovator, the head of our skill network academy and international that train people on the digital and green entrepreneurship. I'm a social entrepreneur, a creative writer, and one of the endorsed innovators for the UN SDG. Meet me. You can connect with me at WhatsApp number +234 80 308 996 94, and we can work together. Again, +234 80 308 996 94. I'll meet you in the next video as we talk about the positive action against climate change. Thank you so much. Partner with us. Let's save the world. Let's save humanity. Let's be happy together. No one should be happy that some people are dying somewhere in the flood. No, there's something you can do. Take action right now. Connect with us and let's partner together to help our world. God bless you. Thank you.